Good morning YouTube, welcome aboard the Fuel Factory van. We're off to see Dave this morning. He's going to show us his Audi TT. I know there's not going to be a speck of dust on it. Let's go and see. Why did you even buy a TT in the first place, mate? What drew you to an Audi TT?
I looked on Auto Trader and it goes in alphabetical order, mate.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to spin some absolute yarn, mate. Oh, I've always admired the Audi Quattro system.
No,
literally went straight on Auto Trader, mate. Got no patience. Went, what's the first car? Audi. Oh, I like red. Bang, bought one. Yeah, my mate Ian had one for a little while, didn't he? And I was pretty impressed with it.
Was it stock? Or was it just
it was bone stock? It was bone stock. Yeah, he had it for a little while, and it seemed to pull really well.
See, I was happy with this when I first bought it. That first day that I bought it a couple of years ago, I thought 170 brake, 4-wheel drive. All right, it's not the best 4-wheel drive system. It's that that hold-deck system, so it only cuts in at certain rev stuff. But it pulled well for what I thought for what it is. You know what I mean? A 2-litre TDI, 170 brake. It did pull all right.
It did, but it definitely was choked up. It was choked up.
Well, the DPF, I knew the DPF when I bought the car, the DPF was knackered anyway. Yeah. So I knew I was going to have to do something to that. So I thought, well, if I'm going to do something to the DPF, I may as well have a little fiddle with a few other things as well.
Yeah, and it has worked. I think now this car performs how it should have done when it left the factory.
Yeah. It's a lot less restricted having that DPF out. I could tell the difference just by having that DPF out, that it was breathing a lot better and stuff. Yeah. It was revving a lot better.
It's the throttle response. It's the low down throttle response that you gain from an exhaust system. You did have a few issues with it when you first bought it, though, didn't you?
Well, if you remember, mate, the day that I bought it, I rang you on my way back saying the engine management light were on. Do you remember? And you were saying to me, turn around, take it back. It's going to be a nail. It's going to be a scrapper.
Mate, yeah, but here's the thing, mate. I do that with everything you buy. Turn around, take it back, get your money back, don't bring me another scrapper.
But by this time, because I'd already driven it about 30 miles, by this time I was like, this is quite a comfortable car, I like this. So I knew in my head that I could bring it back and we could probably get that engine management light on.
And it was mint, to be fair.
Yeah,
it was in really good condition.
It was in good condition, but I knew it could have been in better condition. The paint was a little bit scratched. The bloke had obviously put it through a few car washes and that, but being that I'm the valeting king, as we all know by now.
The valeting maestro.
I like king, but you know.
The wax wizard.
Yeah, we'll use that.
The valet VIP, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew I could have done something with the paint, because it was the only thing that bothered me when I went and picked it up. Because obviously, as you know, I bought this completely blind as well.
You buy everything blind.
Well, there's blinders that I saw some pictures on the internet and went, yeah, I'll buy that, and bought it, and then I didn't actually see the car until I got the keys in my hand and I was driving it home. Yeah, because you were also going mad about that, because you're like, who buys a car off that, off the internet without seeing it?
Literally, who goes on the internet? So let's just to recap where we're at the minute. Oh, fancy a new car, Auto Trader. The first one's Audi. I like red. There's a red Audi. Buy it. Have you looked at it? No, I haven't looked at it. But I've paid for it.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
It's worked out all right, really, hasn't it, mate?
Well, it's what I've always done though. I ain't got the patience. You know what I'm like. I see something, I get it in my head, and I think I want that car. I'm buying it. I didn't want to get there and then go, oh, I've driven it and oh, maybe it could be better. I've bought it, so I've got to put up with it. If it's a bit crap, I've got to put up with it and make it better.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
How many times have you been in test drive a car and gone, no, I hate it. No, I'm not having
every
it.
Other time.
Every single time, mate. And I'm not going to lie to you.
It's
mate.
too much fun.
It's draining the life out of me test driving all these cars. Where if you just buy it and then you go, well, I bought it now, I've got no choice, and it goes up the road half cocked like that, you know you've got to then make it so it drives straight.
Which is what happened with the Boxster. So when you had that engine management light on, then initially you bought it, engine management light on. What happened next? I can't remember. I can't remember the order that we did things in.
I brought it straight back the day I picked it up and went straight to the local VAG specialist, Audi Volkswagen specialist. He put it on the diagnostic. You know more about it. Plugged it in. It came up on a laptop screen and said it was knackered. The DPF was. That's what it said. That's what brought the engine management light on. The DPF was too blocked. So that's when I knew I'd got it. So I went down the whole route of like, oh, let's get it cleaned out, and all that sort of stuff. But everyone kept telling me, you get it cleaned out, and then if I'm not doing the mileage, which at the time I wasn't, it will just block itself back up again. So I found someone that cleaned DPFs
like if the DPF had had an accident and fallen out,
Yeah.
he would sort you out, wouldn't he?
I mean, we can get under the car and have a look. The DPF's still there.
Still there, mate.
But
It's still there. From stock then, where are we at the minute with this?
ram air induction kit,
Yeah.
DPF, EGR delete, stage 1 remap, centre section back. Previously I'd only got it from like here back, and then the middle section I had that taken out a couple of weeks ago. We'll drop some clips in about that down at Custom Chrome. So yeah, I think that's it for mods, engine mods. Air filter, DPF, EGR, exhaust, stage 1. I think that's where we're at the minute.
But over stock, what, you're running different rims, you're running different suspension, you've put all the pucker parts on.
Well, you don't agree that I put the pucker parts on, apart
It was
from the
all
wheels.
right. It was all the wheels. You cannot argue with these rear.
We had a little bit of a to-do when I said I was buying stands plus coilovers.
Don't even like the word stance, mate. Stance.
But I'd heard that they were an alright coilover for the price and stuff, and all I wanted, you know it, I just wanted it slammed on its arse.
Yeah, I do know that is your thing.
That
innit,
was
mate?
my thing.
It's your thing, mate.
I was thinking about airbags, and I thought, well, they're about £1 million, where I can spend 400 quid on some coilovers and get it sitting how I wanted it to sit on these wheels. So that's what I did. I bought cheap, nasty coilovers, which actually, and
Put
you'll
them on
admit,
3 grand wheels.
yeah, on. I'm not saying 3 grand, and this is my sin.
I meant 3 quid wheels.
But admit it now, these stands plus coilovers aren't as bad as what we thought they were going to be.
No, but that's only because I literally in my mind imagined welding in steel posts and then riding round with 0 suspension. So no, it is accurate to say they're not as bad as I thought they were.
And they've not even got the adjuster cups on.
No, they haven't.
So it makes it so it's sitting as low as it can do without the adjuster cups in, because that takes it up a couple of mil as well. And I wanted it as low as possible on these coilovers. So I've bin them off as well. I think I gave them to my neighbour actually thinking about it, because I never wanted to see him again. Because when am I ever going to wind the car up? Oh, let's have it a bit higher. No, I'm not.
Oh.
I want it on its arse all the time.
Yeah, which is where it's at right now. So when you had this mapped, I wasn't very happy that you did have it done on a rolling road, didn't you? You did have a proper map,
Yes.
but you didn't get any sort of printout.
No.
Why was that?
I think between me, you and whoever's watching this, I think the bloke told me he did it on a rolling road. I saw
Oh, you
the
weren't there?
I wasn't there when
It
he
was never went anywhere near a rolling road, this car, mate. Geezer's turned up with a laptop, MS
No, he
DOS,
didn't. He
he's
didn't.
gone.
No, he didn't. It was a proper place where he did the DPF and the EGR, and I did see the rolling roads when I dropped the car off, but I never actually witnessed this car on the rolling roads. But he did tell me, but he didn't give me a slip.
So what power do we think it's making? Because in all seriousness, it does feel strong. It does feel strong.
Yeah, it does. I reckon, so stock it was 170. if you get the guys that come out and go like you've just said and flash it, they reckon 230 brake, but I don't. I think that's just all a bit make believe. I think it might be a little bit less. I think
it needs to
just being a bit conservative about it. I don't want to say it's got 240 brake. Well, really, it's got 210.
But horsepower is irrelevant when you well, no, it's not irrelevant. But when you're talking about a diesel, it's torque that you want.
It's a torque, and this is a bit of a torque monster, ain't it?
Well, I wouldn't call it a torque monster, but it pulls. Pulls hard. It does pull hard.
So it's a torque monster.
Yeah, all right, torque monster. Fair to say, mate, people are going to want to know more about those wheels.
Yeah, true. And I don't know why I've not mentioned it by now, because it is my biggest investment for the car so far. So they're 19-inch BBS speed lines, but the selling point to me was that they're custom flat face ones. So the front of the wheel, normally on a speed line, they've got a slight roundness to the spokes. Where if we'll get some pictures, we'll get some shots of them. The wheels are actually completely flat at the front, and I think it makes a massive difference. It really does, mate. It makes a massive difference to the way they look. It makes the spokes almost look a little bit thicker because they've been shaved a bit, so they're not so pointy at the end. And to be honest, mate, and they are genuine BBSs. And when I saw them for sale, they've got red centre caps in them. They were made for this car.
They were made for this car.
They were made for this car.
I refer to those wheels as the gobstoppers because when you put those wheels on this car, a lot of mouths closed because nobody had a lot bad to say about them that did that.
No.
People were like, well, okay, you know, you can say what you want, but those wheels are top drawer.
And I went from a couple of sets of gloss black wheels, which back then, and I still do, I still quite like a gloss black wheel, but you just lose the detail. So we'll try and put a picture in it what it looked like with the gloss black wheels on, and it still looked nice.
Yeah.
Close.
It did look nice, but they didn't pop.
No, they didn't. When I put these wheels, because I always like the whole thought of like red and gold, that sort of thing. I like that. A bit motorsporty and all that sort of stuff.
It's a fuel factory running theme.
Well, it is, yeah, it is. Anything that's red, I love it. So I knew that gold wheels were going to look good on this car, and I was going to get some of the other wheels done gold. But then I thought these came up, the BBS, the genuine two-piece BBS wheels. They'd been really well looked after by the previous owner as well, and I thought, I've got to buy them.
Yeah.
And again, I bought them without seeing them.
You might notice behind us, the reason for this cacophony, my eardrums beginning to bleed, is that you've got no interior, mate.
I've got nothing.
Well, you've got a half interior.
What's the half interior?
The front bit.
Alright, I've got the door cards on the front, but apart from that, there's nothing else in here really, is there?
You've got nothing in the back. Weight saving.
You know when you start something, you know when you like, how can I explain it? You know when you pick something, you think, I'll just take that little bit off. And then you end up taking the whole lot off and you think, maybe I shouldn't have done all that. Well, that's how it started with this. I only wanted to do the back seat delete, and put in the bath racing.
They were heavy.
The back seat, the base of it wasn't. The back seat itself was so heavy, but I think that's part of the structure of the car, isn't it? I don't know if it runs through the tops of the back seats, but they were so heavy.
Right.
So I took them out and I thought, that's going to be lighter surely. And I took the sounding and the carpet out and everything else, and then thought, it looks all right back there. But I cut it, if you remember, I cut the carpet here, didn't I? So I still had the carpet in the front. Because I still had the front seats, I didn't have these seats.
You went off on a mad one, I can't remember what happened. It happened in the space for about 3 days. 1 minute you had
in my head, it happened in about 3 minutes. 1 minute I got a full interior in my car. The next thing, I got all the interior of the car on the driveway, scratching my head like this, going, what have I done? Because I cut off the carpet and I thought, well, I've cut it now, there's no going back. I've just got to carry on doing it.
And we haven't touched upon these seats.
So these seats were a bit of a lucky find, really. I was looking, you'll probably know, what are the other red seats I was looking at?
Oh God, I can't remember, mate. It's been a little while.
They've got the name in here, haven't they?
You were looking at Brides, weren't you?
That was it. You've got it. I knew you'd remember. I couldn't remember that. Yeah, I was looking at Brides, but they were a lot more expensive, and I could have got them in black, I could have got them in grey and all that, but I got my heart set on I wanted red seats, and I was going to have to wait 6 months. Well, you'll work this out before long, that if I can't get it either now or by the end of the day, I lose interest.
I've known you about 20 years, mate. You'll work it out, mate.
No, I meant these guys on here. But if I can't get it now, I don't want it.
No.
You're the same.
I won't even have it posted, mate. Not interested. Next day delivery, not bothered.
No.
I want the
next day delivery, I want it now.
You got it.
Yeah. So I found these on eBay, went down to St Albans, bought them, they didn't come with the subframes, but they did come with the runners. And I thought, well, subframes.
I remember.
Do you remember?
Yeah,
Do you remember all them problems I had?
Yeah.
So basically what I did, I picked these up from St Albans, came home, again, with me having no patience whatsoever, went straight onto eBay and everywhere else and found some subframes for these that were up in Wrexham at Demon's Weeks.
Yeah.
So I dropped the seats off, jumped straight back in the car, drove straight up to Wrexham. We're in Leicestershire.
I remember now.
Do you remember?
Yeah,
We're in Leicestershire, so I drove to St Albans, came home, and then drove straight up to Wrexham on the same day. So I've got no patience whatsoever, I just wanted them.
Did about 400 quid in diesel.
Yeah. So long story short, I'm not going to bore you with it, mate. Drove up to Wrexham, came back with the subframes, and you saw them. They were about this big.
Yeah,
and I thought, how are these going to work? And I'd ordered them online so I could pick them up, so there were no waiting around. Came back, they didn't work. They were Mark 1 TT subframes. Do you remember? And I've still got them at home. They're the stupidest things ever. I put them in the car and they were a good 6-7 inches away from where the bolt holes were in the floor.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, long story short, there's a fabricator that used to live over the road from me who made these steel plates, these 3-4 mil steel plates. He did them and we bodged them in. Well, I say bodged them in, the MOT guys love them. Do you know what I mean?
We bodged them in according to all current safety standards.
Exactly.
Because on the fuel factory, it's safety first. So going forward, what are the plans?
Get a new car, I reckon. I've had this 2 years.
I was expecting you to like reel off a list of potential mods.
No, I don't think there is. I think for me this car's come as far as it can come, unless I'm going to put in loads of money for it, unless I'm going to start piling turbo and all, like hybrid turbo and all that sort of stuff. And I don't think it's going to be worth it. I think we need some new content. I think we need something silly that's going to wind you up every single time you look at it.
Yeah, I'll agree.
I think that's the plan. I think as much as I love this TT and I like what I've done to it, 2 years is a long time to keep married to. I don't keep cars that long normally.
I agree, mate. I'm excited. I want to see what you get.
Well, you won't know until I pull up outside your house today. I'm not even going to give you a hint at what it could be.
All right.
I'm going to turn up and I'm going to get your perfect reaction of you being absolutely horrified at what I've brought to you.
Some absolute heinous scrap wagon with a V8 in it.
You know how long I've been on about getting V8s.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of V8s out there, and the way everything's going at the minute, I just want something that does about 3 miles to the gallon that I can't afford to fuel.
That makes sense, mate, when it's 2 quid a litre, doesn't it?
Who cares?
That's the logic we like on this channel.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
It's not going to get any cheaper, so I want a V8. I do want a V8, or at least something that's got a few more cylinders than what this diesel thing's got.
So we're done. The TT, we've decided, or you've decided, we're done.
Unless something miraculous happens.
What, like Santa delivers a hybrid turbo or something? No, it's not going to happen, mate.
No,
Massive V8, great big American tank, 3 miles per gallon. Oliver, and that's it now. You've decided, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Well, that draws us to a close, I think.
Yeah, I think it does.
Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe for more content.